Welcome back, Breakfast Central on News Central. Let's go straight to more of the talks here, all about arts, craft, poetry, and indeed books. Now, the past few years has seen a rise in young African writers really putting pen to paper with stories into published works. Now, today I'm joined by Stephanie Odili, who is a novelist, poet, journalist, editor, essayist, and activist. Clearly a woman of many talents, and also the author of Deafening Silence book, and also another one on poetry. Welcome, Chizoba, Stephanie Odili, for coming on the show, Breakfast Central.
Thank you.
Right then, from a background on broadcast journalism option in mass communication to a published book, tell us, where did it all start for you, writing?
I think it started when I was very, very young, say 4 years old.
Wow.
Yes, I had a terrible stammer, terrible. So my dad I would come back from school, my parents come out from work, and then like, oh, how was your day? And then I'll spend the next 15 minutes trying to stammer through a sentence. So I figured, why not just write it down and tell them what happened in my day. So I think that writing down, I had to like add stories, and that's when I realized, or that's when my parents realized that there's something. I mean, that's 5 now, me being 5, so 4, 5, 6. They realized there's something about her describing her day that's very storytelling-like, and that was the beginning.
And from then on, you kept on writing.
Yes, till date.
And you clearly published one, Deafening Silence.
Yes, a novel.
Wow. This one there. Tell us more about it. What's the book about? It's fiction, right?
Yeah, it's historical fiction.
Historical
it's based
fiction.
on real events, yes.
Okay.
So Deafening Silence is about a young woman's journey to destiny. She's trying to find the truth, and in the path to that truth, she tells the story of war, sacrifice, relationships, family, suffering, and love. And the journey of 3 women meets at this, very emotional.
Journey of 3 women.
Yeah.
And there's a grandmom.
Yes. There's the protagonist, grandmom, and then there's a 3rd woman who is, from a different country and a different background from the other protagonist.
Really deep and compelling stuff. And so, for historical fiction, where do you get inspiration for that? Where does it come from? Because do you need to live the lived experience to be able to to churn out such?
Well, I didn't have to. Of course, I didn't live through the Civil War, but I read enough. I proudly always say I researched for 5 years because it was a long time.
So that explains it. Yeah.
Yes, it was a long time of reading. I remember going to Enugu, to the library then, and being there for hours, days, because I wanted to digest every information. I asked a lot of questions. So my mom, my grandma, my aunties, my uncles, everybody who was older than me, having asked a question, how was the war? What happened in the war? So all that information, and because I also love reading history books, so I like to read history books. I like to watch history documentaries. Okay. So as random as they may be, so all that accumulated in. I would like to tell. I mean, and there were so many books on the Biafran story, frankly, and I just thought it's time people hear a version from an Igbo person who wasn't really supporting the Igbos, if that makes sense. Most of the other stories were by Igbo people who spoke for the Igbos, and then now it was an external party telling the story. Yeah,
and also that the years of the research, because one as young as yourself. To have this is back in the 1960s, such a story would to take quite deep on. What would you say was the most challenging aspect of the research, before putting this into a book?
I think it was finding the truth. I had grown up in an Igbo family where the stories I know are that we were hurt. So it almost seemed like, we were on our own and we were hurt. But researching, it almost seemed like everything I knew was suddenly different. Finding out that, we actually were not just innocent. Something happened and something happened and something happened. And trying to sieve information to know which was. I had to literally source out like real documents written by people we know, popular people we know, real life letters they wrote to themselves, and then I'm also grateful for the opportunity because it was almost a year of begging to get access to the archives in the library. And it was in those archives that I saw letters and notes and statements and read everything that made me realize, okay, this happened and this didn't happen. This is what I want to tell.
Wow. What would you say, for this book? Because it focuses on women, basically. And we can say that you're part of the growing number of, female voices we have in the literary space of not just Nigeria, Africa. We know about the likes of Chidamanda, who's doing, big things, Half of Yellow Sun. Also, having one of the stories that chime with this, with the Biafra narrative and the Biafra story, is being a woman. Do you think that makes a bit of a contribution right now for you?
Yes.
And your story also, circling around women.
Yes. So being a woman and being a feminist has made me center women first. Telling the stories of women.
You actually, declared a feminist now.
Yes, I am a feminist.
Okay,
yes.
So go on.
Yeah, so having to put women first in our stories, in my interpretation, in history. Women have been erased from history many years over incredible things that have been done. And then in the war, everyone always remembers the men who fought the war. And then there are women at home who had to fight for whatever they had back at home. And I felt it was my responsibility to also show that as there were men on the field, there were women and young girls who were at home or on the streets fighting and struggling day in, day out to also live and survive.
Did you have family members who witnessed
the war?
Yeah.
Yes, of course.
How direct?
Direct, like my parents,
okay,
my grandparents, my aunties, my uncles.
Wow.
Yes, very direct.
Okay.
The book is inspired by real life as well. So some of the stories there are exactly the things that my family experienced.
All right. What other authors have influenced your writing style?
Okay. Well, Buchi Emecheta, Chimamanda, Flora Mwakwa, Lola Shone, Sefi Atta. There's a couple of them amazing women who have actually, shaped.
Yeah, and you also have poetry compilation 22.
Yes, combination of poems and short stories.
Okay, so that is another published work by you.
Yes.
From Amber,
Amber Publishers.
Amber Publishers. Well, really, really great stuff you're doing. And what can we expect from Stephanie Odili?
I think going forward, I think in 2020, I actually want to put out a non-fiction book, on feminism. I feel like there's some things to say, especially from a younger generation of what we call either the ending third wave or the fourth wave feminists. And I feel there's so much in the...
what wave are we again?
Also, okay, there's some controversy. I would say we're in the fourth wave.
Okay.
Yes, but I'd like to put out some words on what I think there are other oppressions that we haven't really discussed about, or we don't discuss as much. That's something I want to work on. I also want to work on some collaborations. I haven't really worked with any writers in the past.
Yeah.
Yes, yet. And I haven't also, I haven't submitted. When you just publish your books, there's also when you submit to other literary publications. And so I'm trying to write more, to submit more. I'm trying to collaborate. I'm trying to work on a new book.
All right. We look forward to more of your works. Thank you so much, Stephanie.
Thank you.
Odili, for coming into the studio. Writer, essayist, also a journalist and poet.